Welcome to Bronx Legal, where we open the doors to the courthouse to give you your legal rights and options. I'm David Lesh. Jumping into your car and calling your friend up to say that you're on your way may seem harmless, or maybe even sending a quick text message sounds safer, but guess what? It isn't, and it's a violation of the law. On today's show, we'll talk about the no texting while driving law and take a look at the top driving violations in New York City. Plus, we will give you your legal rights surrounding these laws. On November 1st, New York State will become the 18th state to ban texting while driving. According to a study done by the Virginia Technological Transportation Institute, done in July, drivers who texted while driving were 23 times more likely to crash or have a close call with a car wreck than drivers who were not distracted. The study says that in the moments before a crash, drivers spend close to 5 seconds looking at their cell phones and not the road. Joining us on today's show is attorney Peter Tilem, a senior partner at Tilem & Campbell. Mr. Tilem has in-depth knowledge in criminal, family, real estate, litigation, and of course, traffic violations. Mr. Tilem, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, now, this law, why now? You know, we've been driving cars for a long time. Yes, maybe we haven't been texting for a long time, but why is it so important now to stop people from texting while driving?
Well, I think that's the issue. We haven't been texting for a long time, and there's been some very high-profile accidents involving kids, especially, who have been texting before accidents, and so people are rightly concerned about it.
Well, you know, from what I see, this is just another way for the government or for somebody or someone in the state to really monitor our actions while we're in a car. They don't want you to use a cell phone. There's no more cell phone. Then you can't text. What is it next? You can't talk to your passenger. I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is, it looks like that the state is taking, step after step. Is that your feeling, or does it look like at some point it's going to slow down a little bit?
It's scary, and I share your concern, but I drive an awful lot in New York, and as I'm sure you do, and the things I see people doing are just unbelievable. People are applying makeup while they're driving, and people are texting, they're sending emails, they're carrying on like they're in their office. And there is a danger that I think the government has a right to be concerned about. But I do share your concern that, how much is too much.
Right. Okay, well, let's talk about this law, or specifically, what is the law? Tell us what it is.
Well, the law very simply is that you're not allowed to type on your cell phone, and the word is text or type on your cell phone, and this goes into effect after November 1st.
Okay. And what's the penalty? What's the fine? What happens if you do?
Well, that's interesting. What they did was something very similar to the cell phone law. There's no points. It's a maximum $150 fine. So it's not much of a deterrent. And there's one other thing they did that was similar to the cell phone ban when it originally started. It gets secondary enforcement, which means that the police can't pull you over initially for texting while driving.
Well, let's give an example, because some people might not understand what that means. What do you mean? Give it an
example.
So
in other words, the police see you running a red light, or they see you speeding, they can pull you over. If they see you texting, they can't pull you over. They're not supposed to pull you over.
So they just follow you around until you commit a crime? Commit a traffic violation?
Presumably, that either you're encouraging the police to do that, or you're encouraging the police to make up some traffic violation that they claim you made. Other than that, because they can't do anything under this law unless they see another violation, and only if they find out you're texting while driving, pursuant to them stopping you for another violation, then they can issue a ticket for the texting.
Okay, I have several problems with this law, but my first problem is, who's going to say that I'm not trying to get a phone number from my device to make a phone call? In other words, if I'm allowed to be on the phone as long as it's a hands-free, how am I supposed to dial the call without typing on a text?
And I'll make it worse. You're allowed to dial your phone. So I'm not sure what this new law means. I don't know if the legislature that passed it knows what it means. It says texting or typing, and you're allowed to dial your phone. As long as you have the hands-free device in your ear, you're allowed to dial your phone. So I don't know how they would ever prove that you were texting as opposed to dialing the phone.
Exactly. Which leads me to the next problem I have, and that's, a police officer pulling you over, saying that you went through a stop sign, or you blew a red light, and now what are they going to do? Reach into the car and grab your phone to see if you've been on the phone?
Well, I don't think that's likely to happen. The Fourth Amendment actually protects you in your car, but more importantly, the data inside someone's phone, or beeper, electronic device is considered very private, and the police would need to apply for a search warrant to search through the data on your phone. So I don't anticipate that over a traffic violation.
Because somebody you might be texting, you might not want anybody else to find out you were texting this person.
That's absolutely true.
Okay. Now, I have another issue for you, and you tell me how you deal with this. Phones have a certain time on it. I can't imagine, or these devices. I can't imagine that every device has the exact same time. So who's to say that when they take a look at the record of your phone, that you were on at the same time that the police officer said that you went through the stop sign?
Well,
how do you match that?
I think you can't, and that represents another major issue with this law and in terms of proving a texting while driving case. I was in court the other day, and a woman was accused of speaking on the cell phone, and she said, "Judge, I offered to show the police officer my phone," and his response was, "Well, some phones can be set up to erase the last number dialed." And she said, "Well, I have my phone records here." And they said, "Well, how do we know it's your phone?" The bottom line is that they have to prove that you were texting. They have the burden of proof. And the police officer is correct in pointing out that it's very hard to disprove that you weren't talking on the phone.
That's right. So what happens in these cases? I mean, what do you see that's happening? Are people pleading them down to parking tickets? What is going on?
Well, you know, the cell phone law is very, very watered down. There's no points involved in a cell phone violation. Most people don't want to take the time off of work, and so most people pay them. It's no points, and who wants to take off time for a $100 fine to fight it? So what I find is people give in.
Well, okay. Well, if people are giving in, does that mean that it's not deterring them from actually using the device?
I don't think it is. I think that a lot of people do have hands-free devices now, but quite frankly, I see a lot of people when I'm driving around talking on the cell phone. I'm sure you do.
See it all the time.
So I don't know that it's had any effect, and I don't really think that the way this law is written, the texting while driving law, will have any effect either.
Also, you know, a lot of people make their living actually doing some work in their car. It doesn't necessarily, you know, salespeople, truck drivers who go from place to place, they need to go on their laptops, they need to find out what's going on. Obviously, this will put a damper in the type of business, you know, that they conduct as well, when you think about it.
Well, I think so, but I think that, you know, the government is concerned about, especially someone driving a big truck and who's looking down at a laptop or texting or entering data on a phone. There is a legitimate concern. I just don't think that this law addresses it.
All right. New York's getting tough, right? Other states, are they getting as tough as we are?
Well, I think other states are getting tougher because some states, if someone's injured as a result of texting while driving, you could go to jail, you could have a felony charge. This is a traffic violation, okay? It never gets to be anything more than a traffic violation. Now, I presume that if they could show a set of factors other than texting while driving, maybe if they can show you were speeding and texting while driving and you ran a red light, maybe they can prove some reckless charge. But right now, texting while driving is just a traffic violation.
Just a traffic violation. Because I know, I think in Utah, they're making it so tough now that if you text while driving and you kill somebody, it's manslaughter. I mean, you're going away for 10, 15 years possibly. Am I correct?
You are correct, and I believe that's the law in Utah. I don't know enough about the Utah law, but there's going to be nothing like that in the New York law.
Okay, we're going to make sure about that. Okay, now, but one more scenario, because like I said, this absolutely fascinates me. You're driving, you know, some of the intersections, especially in Manhattan, I see, they have flashes that go off as you're driving through the intersection. You know, to take a picture of you, I guess, if you're going through the light. Now, if they're taking a picture of you, and and they can see you're actually using your device, how do they know it's you driving?
They don't.